Hello, and welcome to another episode of Spirituality for Badass Babes. I'm your host, Ania Halama, and today I have a beautiful soul sister, book sister as well, Stefanie Bruns with me today. Stefanie helps extraordinary world leaders achieve outstanding results and experiences, working all in the quantum realm, which is super fascinating. She is an expert in leading high performance people, coaches, etc., to more life force, energy, and success within themselves. Stefanie is a quantum psychologist, business mentor, and mother of 4 children with over 20 years of experience coaching ultra successful people using methods that others will call crazy and spiritual. Well, we know how we're all about the spiritual, all about the wacky over here, but that's just the sparkle of an omniverse that we are all here to discover. So welcome, Stefanie. Hello.
Thank you so much for the invite. I'm blessed to be here. Thank you. And a big hello to everyone out there.
So happy to have you. Well, I always start off with this question. What makes you a spiritual badass?
No, that's a long story, but to make a long story short, as a child, I figured out I'm not normal. No, I thought differently. I saw the world differently, and it was not easy. So I was the last one in school that was chosen for sports activities. So everyone hates me. And then I thought, but I'm not too bad. So I always kept my love for myself. So that was a good thing, though. And then I figured out, wow, there are other weirdos out there. And then when
Myself included.
yes, high five. And when I figured out, wow, and this stuff that I'm really interested in is a good knowledge for others, and I market my knowledge to other weirdos. And I thought, wow, that's a huge business. And that was a turning point in my life. And I thought, wow, this is a real expertise. That's that isn't something that is really hard to cover. It's good to be outstanding.
Yes, it is. And you are outstanding. Ooh, it's funny. Stefanie and I were on book tour together for the Women Gone Wild book. And we were always like, oh, Stefanie's so mysterious. She's outstanding. So it was really lovely to get to actually spend time with her. She's such a beautiful soul. Well, you work a lot with the quantum realm. Tell us, a lot of people might not be familiar with what that is. We've been started to talk about the quantum realm recently within this podcast, as well as other areas. Like we just hosted the Master Your Mind mindset, and we had a whole person talk about quantum field. What is the quantum field? How can people start tapping into that as well?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the field is around us and we are a part of the field. So everything is connected. So we are literally connected. You and me are connected. So everyone that is listening is connected to us and to every single person, but also animal, plants, everything in the world. And today I talked to someone who's not familiar with all this stuff. And he said, what is the idea behind it? I mean, how can you use this knowledge? And I said, wow, that explains a lot. So imagine that you can't explain how your life goes, and you can't explain why you always land up with certain kind of people. And you have a lot of questions. Why this happened to me, why this and that. And the quantum gives you a lot of explanation. So if you figure out, wow, the time is not linear, we have different layers of time, we have different timelines, we are all connected, and everything has a ripple effect. So that means if I think something, then I behave in a different way. And my behavior has a special frequency. Every thought has a special frequency. And this is transported through the field to the others. And even though I didn't say, oh, I'm not so well today, they could figure it out if they are sensitive. And we all are sensitive, but most of the people cut this sensitivity off for some reason. And if we tap into this, then we can understand other people. We can make a better business because we know their thoughts, and we can attract a fortune, and we can heal the world with this knowledge. And this is quantum for me.
Ooh, and how do we start tapping into the quantum? Because I'm sure the listeners want to know all about how they can start manifesting in the quantum and start attracting all this beautiful stuff into them. And I talk about manifestation quite a lot. And most recently, I've been starting to do like quantum manifestations, which is so beautiful, like hopping those timelines, changing them, like seeing them change in front of my eyes. It's fascinating. How can people start tapping into that?
Yeah, so most of our colleagues explaining it like this: you have to do a cleaning process. So if you cleansed your energy field, if you cleansed your body, but to be honest, the quantum field starts within you. So nothing is needed. Our biggest tool is the intention. So if you say, I want to tap into the quantum field, then it's not at the end of a 4-hour meditation. It's quite here. So you can close your eyes, snap with the finger, and with a little bit of willingness, you can be there. So what is really needed is to practice. So I would recommend practice to calm yourself down, to cut your thoughts off. I mean, you can't cut them off totally, but you can slow them down. You can focus on another thing. So even though all this stuff that is going on into your life comes again and again, you can send it away and just be present and feel yourself. And then you can go, for example, with quantum manifestation into the timeline where your ideal self is already living the life that your heart desires. So, and this is fancy stuff. Of course, you can tap into quantum hypnosis. You can go through different portals. You can count from 1 to 10, but with a little bit of practice, you can literally snap with your fingers and you are there. And if you are there, where you can merge into the frequency with your better self, who's already living the life, and then you can delete all the things that are holding you back, and you can download all the skill sets, all the habits, all the knowledge that you need to fulfill these dreams here in this reality. And when you do this more often, you will become that person that is already living in another timeline. You can merge these timelines. And this is fancy because it's really working. And if you think, oh, maybe I will have this in 5 years, forget time, because quantum can work immediately. Yeah, and time doesn't exist. So we can tap into the best future right now just because we set the intention and we are working on our energy field.
I love that. And I love how you say, like, we set the intention. That is the first step of working in the quantum field, is like making that decision right this second of, I want a better life. I'm going to achieve that. And then merging those timelines, becoming that person. You've mentioned a little bit about frequencies as well. How can we start manipulating and moving our frequencies in order to just improve our own energy, improve our own spirituality? Like, what are some of those practices that you go towards?
Yeah, so the best thing is to increase your awareness. if you are alone in this process, it's not so easy. But if you have a friend who is into it as well, or better, you have a coach or a mentor who is guiding you, because he is more aware of something. So we tell stories all day long. So even I tell myself old stories. So, and then it's good to have someone who is reflecting that. He's like, oh, wait, that's a story. That sounds like a story. You are a person that can only work in the night, or need a lot of sleep, or doesn't need a lot of sleep. Doesn't matter. Can be a good story, can be a bad story about yourself. So redefining ourselves through stories. And some of the stories are dysfunctional. So then you have to get rid of the old story and renew it and create a new story about yourself. Because what you are telling has a frequency, and the frequency can literally tap into the DNA, because every word has a wavelength, and our DNA has a hexagonal structure. And if we take, for example, the word love, we have a more similar wavelength than the word fear. And this is not only for fear and love, this is working for every single word and every single thought. Doesn't matter if your mother tongue is German, like mine, or Russian, doesn't matter, because every frequency in every language has a different meaning. And when we have a similar wavelength than our DNA, then we can activate more DNA antennas. And the more DNA antennas are activated, the more we have the feeling to be connected to the highest source of all. And if that is the case, if we feel that connection, we are never alone. So we know the universe, the quantum field, is holding our back. So that means you can be more brave, and you can trust yourself more, because you know you have your spiritual guides beside you. In the 3D realm, you have your mentors, you have your friends who are running the same ideas, and then everything becomes so easy and a lot of fun.
A lot of fun. And let's add more fun and pleasure and joy into our lives. I always say, like, one of my all-time favorite manifestation or affirmations is like, the more fun I have, the more money I make, because it should be fun. Like, allow that flow to come to you and start playing with some of these frequencies. I love how you describe, like, and I've said this to my students as well many of times, like the frequency of love and the frequency of hate, like fear, like they're so different, and it's so beautiful. Like, I've actually sat there and like recorded myself saying love and recorded myself saying fear, and like looking at those vibrations and those frequencies. It's so fascinating. So you're a quantum psychologist. How do you merge the spirituality with the science? I love that.
Yeah, so we know a lot about psychology, because psychology is here for decades. But when you look at all the achievements, then we say, okay, we achieved a lot. But why though? There are thousands, millions of people still suffering. So that means we have to add something to psychology. So psychology is good to explain a lot of behavior, but to understand it fully, we have to work interdisciplinary. So we have to add more stuff, and quantum physics is evolving, and we have so fascinating results, so that we see, wow, now we have the evidence that it's working. We have the evidence that we have energy centers, and we have the evidence that we have meridians. And if there's something stuck, and what is stuck? So all the emotions, all stories, unsolved traumas are stuck there, and then we can't reach our goals, because this is holding us back, because we don't have enough energy to reach our goal. So imagine you need 100% of your energy, but 1/3 is blocked because you don't want to talk about this part of your life. You don't want to hear about your ex-partner. You're not there to think about your school experiences, and everything is holding you back because you don't have enough energy. But if you release those blockages, then your full potential will unleash, and then you have the full power to step into the next dimension. And this is so powerful.
Yes, it is. Like, get rid of all of that, all of those old stories that you're telling yourself. And one of my all-time favorite tools is EFT tapping, like moving that energy, moving that frequency from like those old stories that we tell ourselves, all those old things that we don't want to listen to, but it's deep in our subconscious mind, and reworking it into the positive, moving into that positive, into the person you are meant to become. But sometimes, like, it's really beautiful. Like, I was having a really hard time in life over the last month or two. And it really took me the time to step back, and like I surrendered. I allowed the people that are in my circle to fully help me, because I was like, there's something in me that I'm not seeing, some stories I'm telling myself, and it's okay to reach out for help. Like, ask people, get a coach, get a mentor, reach out to Stephanie, reach out to me, because there's things that we keep telling ourselves, and there's things, moments that we just don't fully see ourselves, and some of them might be those old programmings, old stories that you're telling yourself. What are some of the tools that you use to help clear some of those blockages, move that energy?
Yeah. So quantum tapping, EFT is also good, but you can make it more easy. So for example, to tap on your thymus and say, even if I don't know how to solve this problem right now, what I do know is I'm already into it. So I'm solving it. And I love and accept myself while I'm loving it. And then you can go one step further and say, and I love and accept myself if I have solved it already. So, and by tapping this, you will release all the blockages. And this is a very central point here at the time, because you can feel like you take a deep breath after. And it's so good to feel your body. And another tool that I love to use is chakra tapping. So we tap all the chakras, and then to tap also the pineal gland. So, and there are good points to do it. And then you can use certain frames. And another thing is to find the stories. So redefine the stories, and also to release rules. So a lot of people have rules in their life. I always have to do this and that. If someone asks me to do a favor, I always have to say yes. So that's an old story. I can say yes if I like, and if it's very important to me. So to add these three things to a sentence can change your life. And then we will find all the karma blockages that are in your energy field, because everyone has a lot of karma in certain ways. And this is another huge stepping stones in healing. And then we can unleash the potential of your DNA and also of your starseed DNA, because we don't have only the heritage of our normal ancestors. We have, most of us, as starseed ancestors. And then it's worth to have a look into that and to unleash the potential. And to work with the DNA is very, very powerful, because most of the people have collectively blockages there. So we don't know our true origin. So there's a molecule that is blocked collectively. And if we go into that and work with the DNA and also with the mRNA, then we can make quantum jumps.
Ooh, so good. I just recently started reading Gene Codes, and it talks all
Mm.
about the DNA of your body and how that's impacts our lives so much. It's a highly recommended book. I just started reading it, but it's so long.
Yeah,
But it's fantastic book thus far.
yeah,
I
and
love that. How can so you talk about star seeds a little bit, and
mhm,
some might be familiar, some might not be. You have this entire lineage. You could be a star seed. You could come from different planets. Like, how do we
mhm.
find out who we are, how we are?
So there are different ways of doing this. So we can ask for a chart. So you need your birth date, and then you can figure out, okay, which planets are in your star seed chart. And then you can figure out, oh, the Pleiades, or Lyrian, or Orion, or something like this. But you can also use your body to test it. So kinesiologic muscle testing is a good way to do it. And you can figure out in seconds if you are a starseed or if you are a soul that was visiting a lot of planets. And this is an easy way to find your heritage if you have a starseed heritage. But normally there's an easy rule. If you are interested in all of this stuff, it's a huge sign that you are a starseed or that you have a lot of contact with star seeds. So, and yeah, this is one part. And another part is to work with the energy field of the earth and also the energy field of the cosmos, because we are a transducer to the field. So that means we are, as a human being, we are the middle piece between the cosmic electromagnetic field and the earthly electromagnetic field. And we can combine those two energies, and we can give it through our heart center to others, to other beings, to plants, to the planet itself. And we can literally erect the old structures that has been there for thousands of years, but have been destroyed some couple of thousand years ago. And if we are doing that, then we can get more energy out of this electromagnetic field. And some people that are really sensitive can already feel if they are on an interference field. And this can be a life changer, because a lot of people that sleep, for example, on interference field get cancer. So it's worth to have a look into this stuff. And everyone has this ability to feel if there is a good field, electromagnetic field. So we feel free at the seaside, at the beach. There's a really good high frequency field. So normally it is above 550 hertz. And if you are at the interference field, it's quite lower, so 100 hertz, and you can feel it. And if your bed stands directly on a water vane and a crossing point of electromagnetic fields, a grid system, then you can get ill. So that's why it's good to check it out and to do something against it. So no worry, you don't have to buy a new house. You can just replace your bed or work with interference field devices.
Wow, 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 wow. Like so much to unpack there. Beautiful. Wow. I didn't know that, like, depending on where your bed stands, like if you're on the magnetic field, a lot of people get sick. It makes a lot of sense because you're interfering with that frequency, that vibration of your own
Yeah.
energy, and
And
it's turning you off completely. Wow.
yeah, yeah. So if you have a cat loves to sit on interference fields. So it's not 100%, but a dog hates it. So for example, if a dog avoiding your bedroom and your cat loves to sitting there, then it's good to douse and to tap into it and figure out what is going on. So the
Fascinating.
old Romans knew it already. So they would place animals on the land that was supposed to be land for a house, for sheep, for example, and then they would open the sheep, and if the organs was not in well shape, then they would say that that's not a good place for a house.
Fascinating. Wow. Like the things that like old Romans, Greeks, like even like ancient Egyptians, like the stuff that they did is just fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Like their technology is just so much more advanced than what we have today, but fascinating, fascinating. So what can people do to start improving some of their daily lives? Like you've given so many beautiful tips already, just so we can all start living and manifesting our greatest selves.
Mm. So it's good to journal. I always say to my clients, so start journaling, take a notebook and just write your first thoughts of the morning, because then you become aware of it. Because normally we think, oh, I have to do this, and yesterday I didn't get to XYZ, and you start the day in low mood. So it's good to looking forward to something. So establish a daily routine where you give yourself some joy, where you can look forward. If you know, wow, I have a long working day, so what is the juice at the end of the day? So what can you do for yourself to be in high frequency? And the good thing is you don't need a lot of money, because your brain doesn't differentiate if you're really sitting on a beach, for example. If you imagine a beach, for example, in detail, then the same brain areas are activated, then you would really sit there. So alone the imagination is enough to make the body feel like, hey, we are enjoying it in 3D and not only in our 5-dimensional realm.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for all of this wealth of knowledge, Stephanie. Do you have any final tips, tricks for other spiritual badasses that they could walk away with?
Yeah, so I said it's good to work with the pineal gland, and we are moving to the new golden age. So it's the sixth golden age, and we all have some old traumas from the last golden ages. So the last one was Atlantis, and everyone who was incarnated there is looking like, oh no, not again. Another golden age. Sounds so goldy, but we know how it ended up. And we have to overcome this. And the best way to do is to have an decalcified and activated pineal gland, and to work with gold frequencies. And I set up a whole training how to do it in detail. And this training came to me. So my conscious mind was a little bit suspicious, and I thought, no, I never heard this. I don't know. But I channeled all the knowledge. And then 1 week after this was set up, I already trained it on the German market. Hundreds of people attended, and the results were, wow, mind-blowing. Then I found a book, and I was like, yeah, you have to work with gold frequencies to activate the pineal gland, because the pineal gland has a cover of monoatomic gold. So it's a mineral. And this is needed to be protected and to be fully activated. And that's why I would recommend maybe we put a note in the description where you can find this training.
Beautiful, which also leads you to the freebie you have for our audience today, the pineal gland wallpaper. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Oh, that's fancy stuff too. So it's a free wallpaper. You can download it immediately, and you can put it as a screensaver or just as a background on your cell phone. We have different sizes, so you can also put it on your desktop, or you can put it on your tablet, and it will activate your pineal gland, because we used different number codes and also activations, and it's a nice picture. So a lot of people say, wow, I feel immediately something is going on there. And yeah, I've worked with thousands of people with this pineal gland wallpaper, and the results are stunning.
Amazing. And all of that is going to be in the show notes as well. Beautiful, Stefanie. Where can people find you? Where can they get more information from you?
Yeah, if you go to businessflowacademy.com, you will find a German website, but there's an English flag in the red corner, and you can figure out what we have in English. And I'm looking forward to meet you, beautiful soul. Thanks for being there. Thank you, Ania, for inviting me. It was a lot of fun to talk to you.
Thank you so much, Stefanie. This has been beautiful. All of Stefanie's information, as well as the wallpaper, will be in the show notes. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. May you be blessed with love, light, and high frequencies.